We are a weekly podcast, Soul of a Gamer.
Hey, I'm smart this time. I did it this time.
Let's not go that far, okay?
I won't fuck it up again.
I love pressing that button. That was my favorite button. Yes.
It's definitely.
This game gets really fucking weird.
Yeah, so you do acid and then you go into the hamster shit.
And this week is...
Night Trap.
Night Trap!
They're right behind you. Night Trap. 10-year-old birthday party. Next scene, kill the kid.
You got to kill the kid. Sha-la-la-la-la-la, car is coming. Throw your body into the car and die. All I could do every time I was playing Ethan was just would start walking around and go, Jason!
Oh, God.
It's just...
It counted down.
It did. It knows
did?
how to count, just like you know how to count.
Yep. 1,
We all know how to
5.
count.
10, 12,
Well, at least you're...
7.
Do you know some numbers?
I did know numbers.
Welcome back, everybody.
Hello.
I'm Scott,
And I'm Steven.
and this is Soul of a Gamer podcast, where each week we play a game, we give you the breakdown of the making of the game, and we tell you how we think the game did.
Yes.
We hope you enjoyed our last week's game.
Oh, it was Pacific Drive.
Yeah, it's Pacific Drive.
I watched
We
that
liked
before the
that game. It was like a love-hate relationship with that game.
Yes.
I was hoping to give an update on whether it won the award, but I didn't watch the Game Awards.
I don't think it won any awards.
It probably didn't, but it was up for Best New, if I remember right, Best New Indie Game.
Oh God, what won Best New Indie Game?
I don't know. But anyway,
Can't
it doesn't
remember,
matter.
but it wasn't that.
Whatever won it, did a great job.
Yes.
But yeah, that was our last week's game. This week we are playing Ape Escape, numero
Yes.
uno. Because apparently there's like 15.
Is there really like 15 of them? Do
I don't know. I saw at least 4, so I assume they just kept
okay.
making them.
I have no idea. This is the first time I've played any of these.
Yeah, I mean, it was okay, but I guess we'll get into that a little later. For now, Steven, what the fuck have you been playing this week?
All right. So actually, I tried a different kind of game, a different indie game, actually. I tried this game called Neon White.
Mm-hmm.
It is kind of like a speedrunning action platformer. In a way, you just like go on these really short runs, and you have to try to get the fastest time going through it. And you're like these demons, or not these demons. You're these people that were murdered, and you didn't go to hell. You did something in your life that was good enough for you to be able to compete in heaven as a neon, and you have to run through floors of demons, killing all these demons to get a potential to get a shot back into heaven for 1 year. And then you have to do the
Only for
tournament
1
back
year.
over again. Yeah.
So every year you have to redo this fucking run.
Yep.
It's just like, you know what that is?
What?
Oh my God, that's Fable.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
That's the first Fable. Remember when you're locked up in the prison and you have to do the race every year to meet the warden to try to get the key to get out? And if you fail, you just redo it the next year, and you keep doing that every fucking year.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I guess that's fair. Yeah.
Interesting.
But yeah, no, it's really cool. And actually, as far as like, it's pretty easy as far as the platforming of it. It's more of like getting the combos and the action and the just run through. And you do these abilities that like take down enemies, and then the enemies drop cards, and you can use the cards as a weapon, like as guns to shoot through, or you can use a discard the card ability, like elevate, or use throw a bomb or something else like that. It's really fun and really awesome, like anime graphics, and kind of got that like text to talk kind of speech for some of it, and some of it's actually like cutscenes. But it's just been really fun. What have you been playing?
Same as before. A lot of Car Chop Simulator. It's been too much fun.
I bet you're ahead of me now.
Yep. I've been, I'm still into Stardew. I'm still doing Pokemon and stuff too at the same time. But I've really been focusing on Car Chop Simulator.
I mean, that's a good one to focus on.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's about it for me. So you want to jump right into this?
Yeah, let's go for it. Give us the...
Okay, so
about the
as
game.
always, we start out with the background of the story of the game as well as what the game is. Ape Escape is an action-adventure platformer game that follows the adventures of Spike as he searches time for monkeys. These monkeys are led by Spectre, a monkey who has stolen a device from the professor to make him intelligent but also crazy. Spike must stop the monkeys while also facing against his best friend.
Yep.
So,
Think Planet of the Apes meets Speed Racer.
yeah, kind of. I will say the bad guy in this game did look very anime.
Very anime, yeah.
Like, it's almost like Final Fantasy VII anime, you know?
For sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
it kind of is. And like even like the hairstyle and everything.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Clearly,
'cause I have spiky
it's
hair.
we talked about this guy before, the creative director. He worked on that game
other
and
game
also Gravity Rush.
Yeah, Gravity Rush, that's what it was.
So a lot of anime-inspired stuff in Gravity Rush as well, you know?
Yeah.
So Ape Escape started development in 1996. They took 2.5 years in making the game. Ape Escape is the first game made by Sony to require the DualShock controller. The controller features 2 analog sticks instead of the digital 4-button movements used previously. They wanted to make the switch after Nintendo had made their Nintendo 64 controller completely analog. Creative director Susumu Takatsuka, I think that's how you say it, said that
No idea.
using the DualShock controller was the hardest part of programming the game. He also said that he loved how many options the controller had versus the traditional controllers. When using an analog controller, it gives a lot more freedom with movements and positions. For example, when using a bow, you could slightly move the stick back for a less powerful shot or pull it back fully for the most powerful shot. This led to more capabilities for the game. What's really interesting about that is they go into it and they're like, basically with the 4-button input movement, you have 4 or I think 8 options is the most you can have with those.
Yes.
So with an analog stick, you have 4 million different things you can do.
Yeah, because it's like all those little like micro movements.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And like he even said, like, it might not seem important, but in the long run of things, it's super important to have this analog stick because it really does, like, it takes movement. And, I say movement only because that's really what the analog sticks are famous for. Takes movement into an entirely different direction in the game.
Oh, yeah, because, it was so rigid before. You only literally went one of 8 directions. It was kind of like a compass where you're just like, I have to go this, east, west, northwest, southwest, whatever. And then you get that free range of motion where you can just spin in circles if you want to.
Yeah. I didn't include this in the story, but Sony and Xbox actually both got sued over their analog sticks.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they stole it from another company who had patented it back in like 1994 or 2 or something.
Ooh, they steal it.
And the only reason Nintendo was able to get out of the lawsuit is because they published their stuff in Japan. And Japan doesn't have the same kind of
kind of
like laws
governing
that the US
law
has.
for that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, and because of that, they were able to not get part of the suit and then also kind of shift it to become part of that company because they bought into the company as well because they wanted to continue using it in the US.
Oh, okay. Nice.
So, and then eventually Sony, like Xbox, had to really give up on the lawsuit too because it was like, I don't remember what Xbox did, but I know they gave in pretty fast. They paid out the suit and then bought into the company as well. And then Sony decided not to pay out the suit and then lost the lawsuit, had to pay them 80 million companies, and in addition to that, had to pay into the company if they wanted to keep using their shit.
Damn.
I'm like, come on, Sony. Come on. Like, you stole it.
Sometimes you just gotta give up. Yeah.
Yeah, right? Like, you absolutely know you stole it. Someone in your fucking team made a mistake.
Fair. That's fair.
But, yeah. This led to a lot more capabilities for the game. Takatsuka, I think it's Takatsuka. Takatsuka really liked how the team were able to give all of the apes personalities that were unique as well. He enjoyed the humor that came with assigning the apes personalities. The mini games in the game was some of the most fun things the team did for development as well. The creators for the game said that their favorite devices were the flipper, which allowed the player to jump higher, and the remote-controlled car.
Okay.
Yeah, saying that it was cool how you had to use the DualShock in order to get the devices to work appropriately.
Fair.
Music for the game was developed by Soichi Terada. He is famous for developing the music for the Rush Hour movie.
That's awesome.
Yep. He did all the music for Rush Hour.
I love those
Anything that
movies.
wasn't like already a song, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
of course.
theme
Yeah.
and shit. Voice actors for the game were Scott McGregor as Spike, Peter Bayham as Jake, Michael Souza as the Professor, Christiane. So this is the dumbest way to spell this name ever. Christiana or Iane. Christiane.
I mean, I don't judge people's spelling, even
I
though I
just
kind
don't
of do.
understand why they fucking... Their parents are just
Hey,
assholes, I
you
think.
just got to be unique sometimes, you know.
I guess. I bet they go by Christy a lot.
We have the most basic ass names ever.
Yeah, which
We
is
have-
fine. Christiane Crawford as Natalie, Pete Burrows as Spectre, Peggy Small as Casey, and Susan Michelle as additional voices. The game was announced in the official PlayStation magazine. That was a thing back in the day. I don't think it is anymore.
I don't think so either.
Yeah, the game was released as a demo twice. The first time released by Sony, and the disc featured games Ape Escape, Bloody Roar 2, The Next Tetris, MLB 2000, 3 Extreme, Elmo's Letter Adventure,
Ooh.
Xena Warrior Princess, R4
Fuck yeah.
Ridge Race Type 4,
Okay.
and the only game on here that I know besides MLB, Tony Hawk Pro Skater.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. The other disc was a promotion from Pizza Hut. This is a cooler disc. I would totally get this
Okay.
disc. It has so many cool demos on it. This disc contained Crash Team Racing, Final Fantasy VIII, Tony Hawk Pro Skater, Ape Escape, and the only thing I don't know, Cool Borders 4, and Borders is spelled like a skateboard. So I assume it's like either
Oh.
like a snowboard or skateboarding game.
Yeah. I don't know that
Yeah.
one.
No,
Hmm.
yeah, I mean, it's
But that
the
is a
fourth
better
in the
disc.
series. We don't know what the fuck it is at all. So
That's fair.
the game was released between June 22nd and July 2nd, 1999. The game was then remade for the Sony PSP and re-released in 2005 with revamped controls. This was due to the fact that the PSP did not have 2 analog sticks.
Yes.
And that's it. It's the whole story. It wasn't a lot on that one, guys.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, a lot of the
A little bit older
Japanese
of a game.
companies, like, yeah, they don't really talk about all they went through to do this. Like, I saw a 5-minute documentary on the game, and I'm like, 5 minutes? That's all you got to talk about? How it took you 2.5 fucking years to make this game?
Yeah. I feel like games like this didn't have like a lot of like media or
Yeah,
hype
that-
towards it until the
Oh.
mass media really blew it up. Like this has
Yeah, you
become
know
like
what
a
I forgot
cult
to put
following
in
kind
here?
of game. What's that?
There was a bunch of reviews for the stuff, which I thought were funny, and I'll just tell you now because I remember
Yeah.
what I had in the reviews. So the reviews, basically, they're all like saying how this game is stellar, how the level layout is amazing, how this is the best
Yeah.
game to come out, how it's better than Mario in level system, than Sonic in level system.
Yeah.
It's like really interesting how the dual analog stick worked. And then one of the reviews was really funny. It's like, you can download 3 images of the game on our website. Please do that. It just makes me laugh because you're like, who the fuck wants the
Okay.
images of the game? Like free
I
download.
do.
So
I want to see Spike. I just want to have a picture of Spike to put as my wallpaper, you know,
what I
or
think
my
it
MySpace
is-
profile page.
remember back in the day, you could make a desktop icon in the background,
Yeah.
and they probably didn't have a lot of free source desktop icons like we do. And now we can go on Google and download any source code we want. Back in the day, I
True.
don't think you could do that. So they basically gave them 3 desktop icons, I think, which I thought
Hey.
was funny.
You need those wallpapers, man.
Yeah, like, it's kind of funny. I thought
Oh,
it
no,
was
it's good.
entertaining when I saw that, because that review I think came out in the game came out in 99, so I think the review came out 98 with the demo disc.
Okay.
So very
Okay.
early PCs.
Fair.
But
All right,
yeah, that's
so-
it for the story. Let's jump into the best and the worst.
Yeah. So best, weirdly, catching the monkeys is the best part. I don't
Yeah.
know why, but it just is kind of fun. Like, I hate the controls for it.
Yeah, we'll talk
But-
about that with the worst. But
Yes, but honestly, like, the catching of the monkeys is kind of fun. It's a little more challenging than I would think, with the controls mainly making it challenging, but just even like they're just like weird. Like they were saying, like kind of different personalities they have. Like some of them like really run around, some of them pull pranks, some of you like throw shit at you the entire time. Like
yeah.
they do feel different, and that is kind of like a fun part about the game.
Yeah, I mean, I think best is a lot of the devices are actually really cool.
Yeah,
Like, they are
for
actually
sure.
like the flipper thing that makes you jump super high. I thought that was fucking sweet.
yeah,
They do a really good job with the hint system in this game.
They do.
So one of the things that they'll have is these little mailboxes that have hints. And if you hit it, the problem is they don't really explain how to get the hint. Took me a long time to figure out that I had to hit the mailbox in order to get the hint if I didn't give it to me while walking up to it. But a lot of the times it'll say, hey, this area is for when you get a certain gadget. So don't be here if you don't have that certain gadget, which is really helpful because then, you're not wasting all your time in that area trying to figure out how to get up to the monkey that you can't get to.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I mean, I think the gadgets were definitely my second favorite part. Yeah.
And so like the flipper, like I said, it's the one that makes you jump high. You had a cool remote control race car. You had the
hula hoop thing.
Yeah, the hula hoop thing that goes around you that makes you run fast. You had the radar and the stun baton, as well as the stun baton and the net were kind of automatic gibs.
Yeah,
but they are good stuff that was in there too. There was a couple more things because there was 8 total. I want to say
there was
8 or
the
10.
Underwater thing, but that was kind of another like
like the net and everything. Yeah. Again, another one that they had to give, otherwise you wouldn't be able to do much.
What was the other
whatever
one?
else there was? They're really cool gadgets. They were a lot of fun just to sit there and fuck with a lot. So, and the game really does have a lot of ways to get around, which is cool. Like.
Yeah,
traditionally, you'd get from point A to point B in like a Mario game by doing exactly the way they want or finding a game-breaking bug that can get you from point A to point B. But in this game, like they put all these gadgets in here, and now there's so many ways to get from point A to point B.
It's true.
Yeah. So
and I did like the freedom of the game a little bit, and I did like that it kind of left it open. And like a lot of maps, it's like there's 13 monkeys, you have to find 6. And you're like, oh, cool. So I could even pick the 6 I want to go after.
Yeah, and so a lot of the times I'll have 6 really easy ones and then 6 kind of challenging ones if there's 12,
Yeah, for sure.
So now we get into the worst. The control scheme for this game is absolute fucking trash.
It's dog shit.
Yeah. So they decided to have, and I don't like the PlayStation controller. I think its format is really fucking stupid. The DualShock thing where they put both thumbstick at the bottom of the fucking controller and made you use the D-pad as your movement is really annoying, or make you like really stretch your fucking thumbs out so you can move. I've never liked the PlayStation controller. I've always felt it's a very forced system. But in this game, they didn't even give you like a way to move your body and the camera around you, because they made the D-stick the camera movement, or the D-pad, and then the left thumbstick the fucking movement. I'm like, how am I supposed to do that with one fucking hand?
Yeah, that, and so I always had to have my controller in such a weird position with my hand to like kind of accommodate these weird controls. But then also like I even tried reformatting the controls, and it's so hard to even reformat it in a way that makes it work. Yeah, like you just kind of have to get used to the way it works. And if you can, it's okay. But like a lot of it's inverted too.
Yeah, like you got to understand your jump button is fucking R1 and R2.
It's terrible.
It is not any like there's no semblance of normalcy.
No.
At the very least, what Nintendo did back then was make all the games kind of cookie cutter when it came to controls.
Yes.
And this way, nobody has a big learning curve when they're going into a game. When you think of games like Madden, they've been cookie cutter for their controls since it came out in the 2000s, right?
Yeah, like right trigger is always going to be sprint. Y is always going to be hurdle.
Yeah. It's just, to me, it's important to keep that cookie cutter control scheme, because when you give people more challenging controls, they tend to drop the game.
Yeah,
and that's probably why this game wasn't as popular as maybe it should have been. Because this game is really fucking cool, but I think the controls really ruined it.
I have to agree with that full-heartedly.
Yeah,
and
it was so hard playing, guys.
Having the thumbstick, the right thumbstick be the thing that you used to catch the monkeys, and you had to use it in the right direction. And so it was just so dumb.
That was the stupidest thing in the world. So guys, what we mean by that is normally, let's say you want to swing a weapon, you'd normally hit like on a PlayStation controller, maybe like the square trigger button, maybe the X button, maybe the circle button, almost never the Y button. But one of those 3 generally will be like a heavy attack or a light attack or whatever. In this game, they decided that the right thumbstick moving in the direction that you press it is where your net is going, no matter which direction you're facing, which makes that really fucking stupid and hard when you're like used to being like almost an automatic. I think this game really needed a targeting system to keep the camera center.
Well, I mean, there was like camera center button, but you had to basically like run and keep hitting that button while keep attacking.
But every game
because-
has that camera center button, so it's not like
Yeah.
unique at all. But they did it so slow too. Like it
Oh,
takes so
God.
fucking long for it
It
to come
does.
back to center.
It really does.
Yeah, like guys, controls in this game garbage, and of course they assigned all the buttons different items you can use,
Yeah.
which I thought was really dumb too, because then you could only have 4 items when you have the possibility of using 10, so you had to go back to the start screen a lot and then switch your shit
Yeah.
out. You know, it reminded me of what is that stupid Zelda game?
Oh, which
Breath
one?
of the Wild.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah.
you know how you have to like press start a lot to switch out what you're holding in your hand?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of
Because the
what
weapon degradation system is just
Yeah.
you have to keep using different weapons all the time.
Yeah, exactly. So like, and I get it. There's a certain crowd that really liked that, and that's cool. I didn't.
I hated
I
that.
fucking hated it. I like
Yeah.
streamlined processes when it comes to using weapons.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this game was really hard to play control wise. It just
Oh yeah.
it did feel like you're always at a disadvantage playing.
And the worst offender for me in this was the rowboat. I fucking hated the
Oh my
controls of the
fucking
rowboat.
god! I
Oh,
fucking
dude. You had to use
Oh.
both thumbsticks
Yep.
in unison, but
Mhm.
somehow it wasn't in unison because somehow one would always be slower than the other. But you had to
Yeah.
rotate the thumbsticks as you would be rotating the paddles with your hand. I was
Yeah.
like, what the actual fuck is this?
So basically, you
controls?
have to go in opposite directions of each other,
Yes.
which is fine. But eventually, I found out that you can just hold up with both thumbsticks and it will move you forward.
Oh,
Which is-
what?
Yeah,
That's
you
some
could do that.
bullshit.
After like 2 seconds, it would row you forward because they're like,
That's
okay,
some
people are gonna
dumb
get fucking
bullshit.
pissed at this.
I just got pissed
Um,
with that shit.
Yeah, I mean, the rowboat was so worthless too. It was such like
It was.
like just use this to not get shocked by fish. Your
It wasn't
fish
even
are
that bad, like-
dangerous. Yeah, it's like you don't die instantly. So what the fuck is
No.
the point?
And a lot of times you could like jump off a cliff somewhere and like miss most of the fish area and just
Yeah.
jump on the platform.
Yeah, it was very annoying, guys.
Yeah.
I think that was just a throwaway mechanic. One of the reviews I read really like praised the rowboat, and I was like, "You're
What
a
the
fucking
fuck?
idiot.
Oh god, yeah.
You haven't played any good games."
It wasn't good ever. That's just
no,
terrible.
No, I mean we are
Um,
comparing it today, but if I was a kid, this would have pissed me off. So
It would have pissed me off no matter what age I would
Yep.
have played this. This
Mhm.
is just terrible in my eyes. Another thing that I didn't like is I do wish that you could finish exploring the map instead of just being portaled out as soon as you get the targeted amount of monkeys. So if there was 13 monkeys on the map and you only needed 6 to complete it, as soon as you get that 6th monkey, you would get teleported out of the map. You didn't get a choice to stay in it or not, and you'd have
Yeah.
to return to the game. I wish you could
I'm-
stay.
I'm half and half about that because maybe the point of portaling you out was, hey, you got the 6 that you can get.
Yeah.
All the rest you need all the extra shit to do, so there's no point in you even trying. You know, it could have been that.
But I mean,
They
I
didn't
think
say
even
that,
like
so we don't know. But
I think I remember in one of the Spyro games it even asked like, "Do you want to return?"
yeah. And I
Yeah.
agree. I think it'd be good to have the choice, but I also didn't mind it too much because you could just go right back into the level right after completing it.
I mean, that's fair.
Yeah. So, one thing I really hated is every time they introduced a new gadget, they had to have a tutorial lesson
Oh,
on how to use the
God.
gadget. And some of
A
them were
forced
so
tutorial.
easy.
Yeah.
It's like, and it's so easy for some of the stuff, but, you know,
Oh, and I
don't
hated
know.
the
the slingshot
challenges.
was the other thing. That was another gear thing. I really liked the
yeah.
slingshot actually.
I hated the challenges in between like every other world too, where you had to face Spectre or
Yeah,
no,
to
the
me-
other kid.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
guys, the movement in this game in general is really blocky. So,
Yeah.
if you're on what is essentially a 1x1, I don't know, what platform, I guess. So, a really skinny
Yeah.
platform where your legs hang off on either side when you're walking on it. Like they used to do that in the 90s with all the games, right?
Oh yeah.
It's really annoying because there's no way for you to walk actually straight because your
Yeah.
camera perspective is constantly changing on you. It'll make you go a little bit left, a little bit right. It'll like, I'll be crawling. I was crawling on the 1x1 thing and I still somehow fell off. And I'm like, what is happening here?
I had to just
how is
keep
it
jumping.
this bad? Yeah, like
Yeah.
well, that's what you have to do is like, as soon as I got the flipper, it was easy. I'd make it like a part way
Mhm.
down, then jump the rest of the way.
Yep. And that's what the game became. It's just bad. But
Yeah.
that's pretty much all I have for the best and the worst.
Yeah, that's me too. And movement's mostly like, it ruins the game, unfortunately, for most people, I feel like.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's move on.
All right, the first few hours of the game, or I guess we should say probably like the first like 1 hour or 2 hours of the game.
Yeah, probably like one hour or 30 minutes or something.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fun. It's a platformer.
Yeah.
You'll either like it or hate it within the first 10 minutes, honestly.
I agree with that. I mean, it's kind of one of those games where you get everything it is, and if you can deal with the jank, then you will find entertainment in it. But if you're just like, this is shit, I don't want to even attempt to do this, then just leave. don't
For
keep
sure.
beating yourself up.
To be honest, as soon as I saw that the right thumbstick was going to be like all my controls, I wanted to quit because I was like, okay, this is really fucking stupid. I hate this. I'm not going to have fun with this. I already know.
So I was debating playing this game for the longest time, and then you brought it up, and then I was like, yeah, we should put this on the list. And then as soon as I started playing it, I felt the same way. I was like, why the fuck am I playing this game?
Yeah.
Like,
but
God.
I will say partway through it, I did like it a little bit better. This game really does grow on you, so it kind of
it's got a charm to
itself.
it. It really does.
Yeah, it unfits itself from the 2-hour rule.
True.
Because it does take a little bit of getting used to, and then once you are used to it, you kind of have a lot more fun, but you never truly get used to it.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like a half and half kind of thing.
Yeah. So I guess next we can go to Steve Achieves, which in this game, the game is about 7 hours long and about 11 hours to 100% complete the game.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of these things are just completing the game. There's not a lot of like really challenging achievements in this. Capture 100 monkeys, find 40 Spectre coins, get all 8 gadgets, play the 3 mini games like that, and then complete every level or whatever. Like that's literally all the achievements.
In total in the game, by the way, there's 25 mini games.
Yeah.
So there's a shit ton. They do add a lot in this game.
Yeah.
But I kind of expected it to kind of have an unlock system like other games had back then, where if you collect all the coins, you get invulnerability mode, or you know what I mean?
Or something.
Remember that back in the day?
Yeah, I mean, Spyro had that a lot. Like, you get to the last world and you get, like, a lot of times you get, like, the cheat. Like, you get the big head, you get, like, the unlimited flying, you'd get the unlimited power-up, dragon power-up, or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
I mean, I think that would have been cool for this game.
For sure.
I mean, whatever. If
or
they
like
don't want to put achievements
net.
in, they don't want to.
That's fair. But yeah, so that's pretty much all there was for Steve Achieves, and I don't have anything for A Hunt for All the Eggs because there was no hidden secrets in this game. There was no Easter eggs as far as I could tell. I thought about mentioning like games that this has appeared in. Like I've heard it appears in like one of the Metal Gear Solids.
Yeah.
It appears in the new Astrobot that just won Game of the Year. It appears in a couple other things, but I didn't see any references in this game particularly.
Yeah. I mean, so with a 5-minute documentary, I'm not surprised they didn't do too much. It almost sounds like they weren't into making the game, doesn't it?
Yeah, a little bit.
No secrets in it, no achievements, no real like support from Sony itself for it. Like
this feels like it's a game that was just like put out for kids without like any.
What this game was put out for 100% was the DualShock controller.
Yes, it was a gimmick.
It's the first game to need it. Like you can't play this game without a DualShock controller. It's impossible. True. You can play it on the PSP, which again doesn't have double analog. But before that, you couldn't play it at all without a DualShock. So you literally had to tell your parents, okay, well, I have a PlayStation 1, but I have an OG controller, so you need to go out and spend $50 on the new controller. Otherwise, I can't play any games.
True.
So yeah, I mean, it was an okay game. I guess we're in ratings.
Yeah, I guess that's where we're at this point.
Honestly, I think this is probably a 2. A 2
fair.
is probably a fair investment. I think you should still play it at some point if you can get past the first 10 minutes. It's still kind of fun, just it does kind of lose its luster after a very short amount of time.
Yeah. I was kind of in between a 2 and 3, and I'm kind of leaning more towards 2, but I think this would be a game that I think would be perfect for a remake. And I think that like the maps and everything could really benefit from that. I think a company like Toys for Bob, who remade the Spyro trilogy, would be killer for this.
For sure.
Keep everything the same, just update the clunkiness and the control scheme to a modern
Toys for
control
Bob
scheme.
Also remake CTR?
I think they might have. I can't remember
so.
for sure, but they've
Feel
done a
like that
few
got a
things,
remake.
and they. You mean Crash Team Racing got a remake?
Yeah, I thought so. I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
Toys for Bob did it.
I think you're right.
I
But
did.
I mean, that's my. Well, I don't know, because Crash is typically Naughty Dog. I didn't know. Naughty Dog might have done
Naughty
all.
Dog doesn't generally remake their games.
Oh, I guess
remember
that's true.
Spyro was also Naughty Dog.
That's fair. Never mind. Yeah.
Yeah. Wasn't it? I'm pretty sure it was.
I can't remember honestly.
30% sure it was Naughty Dog. So we'll say that. But for sure,
I'm
guys.
not gonna put any stake in this one because I have no fucking clue.
I mean, Steven's right. You can play this game. I think in the grand scheme of things, this could be a 3.
Yeah,
And it could even be like a 4 with a remake, I bet. Because the game is entertaining.
yes.
It's really interesting.
It really is.
Yeah, you kind of think Ape Escape and you don't know how it's gonna go. I almost thought it was just gonna be a giant like one plane map where you just catch monkeys, and then it's completely different from what I thought it would be.
That's fair. Yeah.
So,
I mean, I definitely wasn't expecting it to be kind of like on the same kind of level design as like a Super Mario 64 or Banjo-Kazooie or anything like that.
I will say the level design is not good, guys. I don't think
it's
the
not
level
the greatest,
design. No, I think that the people who kept all the reviews I read, it was all like level design's amazing for this game. I'm like, did you play like Banjo-Kazooie when they did the tree level? Because that level was fucking phenomenal. But this is not that.
Yeah, it's hard to compare this to the games like Banjo-Kazooie or Spyro because they just do everything so perfectly. But I mean,
like the maps are cool.
These levels weren't terrible, and I think they could be reinvented and be similar enough to be really fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so too. I think this game could get a revamp, maybe by Toys for Bob or some other company that's really good for it. But I doubt. I think gaming is going to become like a thing of the past for people to do, and AI is going to be doing it soon. So the market's such
I think
shit
AI is
right
going
now.
to be very helpful, but I don't think they're going to take over. Fully.
I don't know, man. The market's such garbage right now. These poor companies are all folding left and right. Fucking sucks.
Yeah, it really does.
My buddy who works for a company up in or down in Denver, I don't want to name it because they just did a bunch of layoffs, but it's like they're losing their people because the modern gaming industry is such shit. And what's crazy is we talked about this with the Baldur's Gate episode.
Yeah.
Because the guy mentioned it. He's like, the industry is just garbage. We're not being innovative. We're just looking for money, and that's it. And I'm 100% agreement with that. That's a totally true statement right there.
He actually had another good kind of little tiny speech at the Game Awards this year where he was talking about a couple of the games that won the awards. They got made games because they cared about making games and they cared about making something for the people, and they didn't care about money or monetization. And that was like, it was like, I love every time he speaks because it's like he agrees so full-heartedly with the mass majority of what I feel like the gaming profile is of what we want in games.
He absolutely knows that a company needs to make money, but he also knows that they don't need to fucking break the bank every single time they do something.
Yeah, and they don't need to use money as like, I don't know, like I feel like a lot of times companies are just like throwing money at a game because they feel like throwing money at the game makes it better.
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
if I throw $350 million at Suicide Squad,
we literally saw that with a game that came out this year. I mean,
and then you get a game that spends $30 million, and then it's just the best game ever, and everyone's saying it's still...
You get like Stardew Valley, which has like one guy who made it, who fucking just did a perfect fucking game. Like honestly, like the passion of Stardew is so much better than the gameplay of fucking Suicide Squad.
Yeah. Well, and I think this is the hardest thing about what a lot of the things with the Game Awards, and how there's so much controversy in the Game Awards right now, because everyone's like, this game doesn't deserve it. This game doesn't deserve to be nominated. This game that we all have a different perspective of what Game of the Year is, whether it's the game that had the best feeling or the game that made the biggest difference in the world of gaming. That's going to change gaming forever. Like when Dark Souls first came out and got popular, how much Souls-like became such a big thing, and how that's everything in the market right now. How Battle Royales kind of took over. Yeah. And so like all these different things, and we all want different things. We all want, some people want the best value for their money. Some people want the most hours you can put into a video game, and we all have a different perspective. And some people like, the best story wins. So even if it's 2 hours, that's the best game ever.
Yeah.
So it's just so hard to like kind of nitpick that. And the bigger the group of gamers we get, and gaming is more popular than it's ever been, the wider variety it's going to be, and the more we're going to be hateful of a lot of things in gaming.
For sure. I mean, one of the best games we played from the last iteration of the podcast was, what was that game called? Killer
Frequency?
No. That was this iteration. It was the one where you're playing the detective and you get all the cool powers and you're trying to figure out who killed the person, who killed the group of people in the chambers.
Oh,
you know what I'm talking about? I think it's called Killer something, Killer Instinct or Killer.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But it was like such a cool game. Like that is such a cool game, but that is so outside the norm of what games are.
Oh yeah,
like,
for sure.
That game would never have been produced by a real studio, like for the amount of money that it would have required from a real studio. They would have said, "This is dumb. It's never going to make us money."
Even that the Golden Hour one, that time travel one or whatever, the one that we did, that one was so unique too, and we never would have thought we'd play a game like that.
For sure. So take it as a lesson, guys. Games are cool, but only if there's passion in them. Like, really, the money games, they're fun. Apex Legends is fun, but the passion has been out of Apex for so long, it's not even funny.
Yeah.
Now it's just a giant dive into how many microtransactions can we have in one day.
Yeah, I mean, I feel the same thing with a lot of different franchises, like Call of Duty. It doesn't feel like Call of Duty anymore.
League of Legends is probably up there.
Charmed. Yeah. Paradise Killer is that game, by the way.
Paradise Killer, that's the one. Yeah.
Yep.
That was a great game, guys. If you don't, we'll play that at some point for the new iteration of the podcast, but it's an awesome fucking game.
I agree. It would be a good one to redo.
All right, well, that's it for this week's episode. We hope you enjoyed a little rant at the end there. Remember, love games, have some fun with it, buy games, support,
please.
Tiny developers. They're working their hardest to give you everything they can.
Yes.
Our next week game, what are we playing?
Oh my God! Oh yeah, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle.
The Great Circle of Circleness.
Divinity,
I think it's called,
and anal.
I was going to say the Circle of Truth, but I'm pretty sure that's not right.
I think it's the Great Circle. I'm pretty sure it's the Great
You're
Circle.
probably right, but it sounds better to say Circle of Truth.
I've already got about 10 to 12 hours in it, I think.
Nice. And you like it?
Yeah, I just came out. Troy Baker is Indiana Jones, and during the Game Awards, they actually had Troy Baker and Indiana Jones on stage together with Todd Howard, so that was really cool.
And Indiana Jones?
Harrison Ford.
Oh, okay. I was like,
they had Indy with Indy.
Where the fuck they find him? Because he would be like 122 if he was real.
Todd Howard, like, we could say that you had the best indie performance of the year.
Oh my God. All right, guys. Well, with that, we're going to leave you.
Yes.
We'll catch you on next week's episode. Have a good week, guys.
All right. Love you.
Bye. Bye.